Hey, thanks for joining Dano on the Counter. This week, we're going to make a sausage gravy biscuit casserole.
Mouth-watering family recipes, easy to make meals, humor and faith fill the inspiring show Dano on the Counter. Born with only half a spine, Dano Burkhardt was never supposed to be able to hold his head up. Despite countless surgeries, a stroke, leg amputations, and kidney transplants, Dano developed a contagious love for life. Join Dano as he shares his easy-to-make dishes and a hope that keeps him pushing forward.
For generations, Dick's Home Care has been providing the best equipment and service for patient care at home. Breathe easier with oxygen from Dick's Home Care. Oxygen concentrators give you a continuous oxygen supply at home. Oxygen cylinders supply oxygen without power. And portable oxygen frees you to go. Dick's Home Care technicians will set your oxygen up and make sure you know how to use it. Call the leader in home medical equipment, Dick's Home Care.
For the biscuits and gravy casserole, you're going to need 1 pound of breakfast sausage, a 1/4 cup of butter, a 1/3 cup of flour, 4 cups of milk, 6 large eggs, an additional 1/2 cup of milk, 2 cups of cheddar cheese, and 1 can of refrigerated biscuits. All right, on today's show, we're going to make our breakfast casserole. And of course, breakfast casserole wouldn't be complete without sausage. So let's head over to the breakfast sausage department, get some ham, get some sausage. Let's head over here, let's get some Jimmy Dean. All right, we found it. They moved it on me. Got our Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage. Now, the only thing is we're going to have to go back to the other end of the store and get our biscuits. So we'll grab our canned biscuits. Make it easy, something quick and easy, because we're not going to waste our time making our bone biscuits. We'll just buy the canned ones. So we'll head down here, and luckily eggs are right next to it, so we'll grab 2 for 1. All right, so we'll grab our biscuits here. We'll get the originals, the flaky ones. We're going to need 2 16-ounce cans of these. We could make our own with some Bisquick, but we're making a sausage gravy, our biscuits, eggs underneath, and then we'll sprinkle some cheese on top, throw it in the oven. Quick and easy, Sunday morning, Saturday morning, perfect breakfast. So grab our biscuits, then we'll grab some milk and eggs. So we're gonna grab half and half instead of milk, just to cut a little bit of the calories. Otherwise you could use whole milk, half and half, or just regular milk if you want, whatever you feel like for your gravy. Half and half I think works best, so we grab that. And let's grab some eggs and some cheese and we're out of here. We're gonna need about a half a dozen eggs for our casserole. We got large white eggs. You can use brown eggs, extra large, whatever you have, whatever you can afford right now, right? So throw these in the cart, grab some cheese, and we're out. We have our cheddar cheese here that we're gonna sprinkle on top of our biscuits before we throw them in the oven. We have our milk, we have our sausage to make our gravy, we have our eggs. So we're gonna throw it all in a casserole, throw it in the oven. We should be good to go. So we'll grab this and we'll head to the house. Let's go.
For generations, Dick's Home Care has been providing the best equipment and service for patient care at home. Stay in your home without worry with Bruno mobility products from Dick's Home Care. Bruno has the highest rated stair lift of any brand. They're American-made quality stair lifts and are expertly installed in less than a day. Keep your loved one at home and safe from falls on the stairs with a Bruno stair lift. Call the leader in home medical equipment, Dick's Home Care.
Impact Productions, a multi-layer technology company providing on-site, online, and in-studio video services. Contact Impact Productions to capture your story.
Hey y'all, welcome into the kitchen. Today we're gonna make a sausage gravy and biscuit casserole. Great Sunday brunch meal. Throw it in the oven, have it ready for when you get home from church. Saturday morning breakfast. Something I love, of course. sausage, gravy, and biscuits. Then we're going to throw some eggs in there as well. When I usually eat sausage and biscuit gravy, or sausage, gravy, and biscuits, I usually end up always throwing it all together and making one big mess on my plate. So this is kind of the same thing, but it's all in a casserole form. So all in one pan. We're going to throw it in the oven at like 425 for about 20 minutes, cook those eggs, and then we'll be good to go. So we have here our pound of sausage that we had bought at the store earlier, and we're just going to brown this up, and then we're going to separate it and then make our roux, and then add our flour and our milk and make our gravy. So we're just going to brown this up. This will take probably about 5-6 minutes here to brown. But I don't know, I'm doing all these casseroles and one pot meals. They're kind of easy to do. One of those things that I find that during the week you don't want to make a whole bunch of dishes and you don't have time to prepare so many different things. If you can do one pot with only a couple ingredients, it really does save on time. So that's kind of what the theme is right now and what's easy. Obviously not the most calorie friendly meals that we're doing, but that's never really been my style. That's how I get all these extra chins and everything, by cooking all these meals. But they're good. They taste great. And who wants to see me just sitting on a counter making a salad? I mean, that would be lame. You guys wouldn't watch. Maybe you would. I don't know. But that just seems boring to me. So we'll stick with the comfort food right now. It's February, so it's cold. Get a little meat on you, as they say. And I saw a meme the other day that it was actually Pastor John shared it, and it was, I like my flour with wet flour on top or something like that, where it was the sausage gravy, which is mostly flour and milk, and then on top of biscuits, which are made of flour. So it was just wet flour on dry flour. So I thought that was pretty funny. And when you think about it, it's just all flour. Story when my grandmother, of course, lives right next door, and when she was here, when my brother was with us for a little while and he had his dog, my grandmother would make pancakes almost every morning, and but nobody was at her house. Nobody was there, and we were like, "Nan, what are you making pancakes for?" She goes, "The dog," and so she would make pancakes for his dog almost every morning. So she might eat half of one. My Nan eats like a rabbit these days, but Nan would eat a little bit, but she would always make pancakes for the dog. So my brother would come home from working out of town, and he'd come back, and he would say, "What the heck happened to my dog?" This dog would gain, I don't know, 6-7 pounds, something like that, because my grandmother was over there feeding it the whole time. So, all right, so that looks good. Now we're going to just take this out. Get it out of this oil here. Turn that heat down. All right, so that looks pretty good. We'll set that aside. Put this down here for a minute. Let that cool. Turn our heat back on. And we have here a couple tablespoons of butter. We're going to melt in there that grease. To make our gravy. Just going to melt that down. So I have our butter in there. It's melted. I'm just going to add 1/4 cup of flour to that. I'm going to switch over. Use our whisk. Just going to brown that flour real quick in that butter and in that grease there. twist that up a little bit. Get all those little bits of sausage. It smells awesome. So that's good. That's looking nice and brown there. Now we're going to add our milk to it. I keep saying milk. This is actually half and half, so we have a little bit more fat in there. So we have about 4 cups. We're going to add about half. And then just kind of stir that. Make sure there's no clumps. Nothing worse than when you're cooking and eating gravy, and then you get like a big poof or a big chunk of flour in your mouth. It doesn't taste very good. So we're just going to heat up this milk, heat up this butter and flour, our roux, thicken this up. So as that's thickening, we'll just keep an eye on that. The next step is to crack some eggs. So we're going to need about 6 eggs here. See how well we can do this without getting any shell. One pretty good. I'm not the pro at this. I haven't mastered the whole one hand trick yet, but maybe I'll get there one of these days. Just gonna steal this whisk up our eggs real quick. Eggs are good and whisked up. All right, so that's good there. We're just going to add a little bit of, what am I adding to this? A little bit of milk to our eggs. Keep them nice and fluffy. Like me, nice and fluffy. So we'll add milk to that. Give our gravy a stir. That's really starting to thicken up here. All right, so we have our sausage gravy here ready to go. We have our 13x9 pan. We're just going to add a little bit of black pepper to our gravy. If you're like my dad, you like a lot of black pepper in here. I'm not going to add any extra salt because there's a ton of salt in the cheese that we're going to put in here, and there's a ton of salt in the sausage. But by all means, if you think you need more, go ahead and add it. This would be the time to go ahead and put it in the gravy, but I'm not going to do that today. I know when I go to eat this, I'm going to cover it with pepper anyways, so I just added a little bit there. So we have our egg mixture that we have our milk in. I'm going to add just about half a cup of cheese to this. A couple handfuls. That'll be good. And then we're just going to mix this together just real quick. Then we're going to pour it into our casserole dish. And with that milk in there, that's really going to fluff up and cook up. Make some room here. And then my favorite part is adding these biscuits. Now, don't be scared, but I'm always scared of these cans. They always explode in my face. So I'm always get terrible anxiety every time I go to open these things. I think you're supposed to like hit it. Yeah, like that. Turned out pretty good. So we're just going to take these biscuits. I'm going to line them, layer them in here. See if they all fit in here. Squeeze her in there. Okay. That'll be good. Then, I hit my head. Told you, Jackson, I was going to do that. And then we just take a ladle of gravy. Put that on top. And these are going to just puff up into the gravy here, into the eggs. Just about half. Good layer here. Mix it all in here. It looks like a mess, but I'm telling you, it's gonna be good. So we got that going. Next step, just add a little bit more sausage. And then at the very end, we'll top it with the remaining cheese and the remaining gravy. So this looks good. We're going to head over to the studio for an inspirational message. I'm going to throw this in the oven for about 20 minutes, let these biscuits cook, and then we'll come back, we'll top it with the gravy and cheese. We'll be ready to go.
For generations, Dick's Home Care has been providing the best equipment and service for patient care at home. Disabled? Lead an active life with a wheelchair from Dick's Home Care. Your wheelchair will be properly fitted to you for your comfort. Choose from Dick's full line of mobility products, including manual wheelchairs, custom manual, power wheelchairs, and scooters for both adults and children. Call the leader in home medical equipment, Dick's Home Care.
Made by Vogel is a father and son business that produces high-quality handmade wooden products such as cutting boards, bowls, bottle stoppers, and more. Products for sale can be found on their Etsy site or in downtown Altoona at the Clay Cup. You can't go wrong buying from Made by Vogel.
Hey y'all, welcome into the studio today. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about who Christ is to me and pose that question of who Christ is to you. I was very fortunate at a very young age. I got to know Christ and put Christ in my life. I actually accepted Christ when I was in kindergarten. I'd come home from a week of VBS and we sang the songs and heard all the stories and sat down with my parents, and I'm like, I want to ask Jesus to be in my heart, and it was just a simple prayer that a 5-year-old said in a living room, back in the early 80s. And that moment in my life, I obviously didn't really understand who Christ was and what that all really meant. But I knew he was in my heart, and I still didn't know, did he physically come into my heart? Like, I didn't feel anything, and really what that meant. But I knew I was going to heaven because that's what everybody told me, that, I wasn't going to hell if I accept Jesus into my heart, and as a young kid, I was like really scared about that. So, I kind of took that at the time just to, kind of my scapegoat to get out of going to hell, basically. But as I grew up and as my faith grew, I really realized who Christ was and what an impact he was going to have in my life. As you know, that I've been through terrible tragedies and different struggles in my life, and my faith has grown through those different things that I've been through, from a young age, from, obviously going through major surgeries, having my legs amputated, and dealing with people and how they see you and how people treat you. And, Jesus was my best friend growing up. Yes, I had friends on the outside, and I had friends in school, and I, of course, had my siblings that were encouraging me and including me, and my parents were always there for me and supporting me and loving me. But as I got older and as I grew up, I really realized who God was and how much I could really rely on him when I was going through tough times. And, when I went through a surgery, I knew that, I'd go in front of the church and they would anoint me with oil, and all these people would lay hands on me and pray and just kind of like getting this sense of who God was and how the power of who God was. And, they would pray that God would direct the hands of the surgeon, and I'm like wondering in my head, what does that really mean? does God send his spirit that they feel something? Is it physical, But really it was just, God giving them the guidance, God putting the right people in place, in my life when I needed them most. And I'd get through one surgery and I would come out of it. And I remember laying in a hospital bed, just thanking God that I was able to overcome that and get through those situations. And as I grew up and going through different situations, who God was to me kind of changed as I matured in my faith. And that's really what I want to talk to you guys about today is, how do you see God today? Do you see him as a physical person that is going to direct you and guide you? Do you have that Holy Spirit feeling in your life? Do you rely on your spirit to help you when you're going through tough times? Or is it one of those things where you kind of picture this God figure that you read about in books, or things that you in your imagination? Or is it a real thing that you truly rely on day to day and through every situation, from going to work or going to school or hanging out with your friends or whatever? Like who is God? And as I've grown, God has become more the reliable friend of that person that I look up to, that I can count on more than anybody in the world. It's somebody that I can rely on as a simple little prayer when I'm driving to work. Hey God, this situation is really bothering me. I need you to help me with this situation too. I'm going through this major thing like a kidney failure, and I'm sitting in dialysis and I'm sitting there for 4 hours and I'm frustrated and I don't want to sit there anymore, and I'm in pain and I just don't know what to do, and I think I'm never going to get through this tough situation. Am I calling out to God and saying, hey God, where are you? I need you in this situation. When I was in middle school and high school, I participated in a youth trip in a mega church down in Florida. And we had traveling a drama team that we'd go and do different skits in prisons and in schools and in other churches. And I remember this one skit that we did where, it was a kid who had accepted Christ, and he was in his apartment, and God was following him around his apartment. God was following him around, and with his conversations on the phone. His friends invite him to come to a party, and God follows him to the party, and he gets frustrated that God is just always with him. And he's like, I want God here in this situation, but I really don't want God with me in these situations where, I'm on the phone, or I'm, with my girlfriend, or I'm, out with my friends partying, or I'm in this conversation at work that maybe I don't think is appropriate, and how is, where is God in all that? Is God with you during all those times? Well, yeah, he is, and God's everywhere. His Holy Spirit lives within us, and it's an awesome thing once you really realize that who God is and how you can count on him. But my focus of this really is that, God is everywhere and is with us all the time, that we need to realize that, and take him with us in every situation. God does come with us to those parties that we go to. God is with us and sees us when we're in those conversations at work. God is with us when, we're probably cutting somebody off going down the highway. Those things are, God sees those things and how we deal with those. And, that's just a simple reminder. In the end of the skit, let me get back to this. End of the skit, the kid is so frustrated that God's following him and taking him everywhere, and he won't leave him alone, because he's with him. He accepted him. He's with him all the time. And he finally just leaves him back at home, and he pictures himself nailing him to the cross, and he's like, just stay here. I don't want you part of this part of my life. I want you here at church on Sunday, but I don't want you in this conversation at work. I don't want you in the car with me. I don't want you at this party, and that's a tough thing to deal with. And as you get, as you're a Christian, you kind of have that guilt sometimes. But God always has his grace and gives us that mercy and is always there for us and forgives us, which is an awesome thing. That, God is there to protect us and help us and give us the confidence to help us get through those tough times. But he's also there so when we make a mistake, we said the wrong thing to somebody. We did the wrong thing. Those aren't things that we're like, God, leave me alone, get out of my life. And they'll really call on God and who he is and say, God, forgive me for these little mistakes that I've made. Yeah, I might have mistreated somebody, or I made a mistake in this situation. It didn't go the way that I wanted to, and I cursed you and got upset. But God is there to forgive us, and it's not like He's going anywhere. He's with us all the time. And as I grew up and went through different things, of course, and I really used God in that way, that I saw Him as somebody that was with me all the time and in every situation. It really helped me mature in my faith, really helped me get through all the struggles and realize that I can always count on who God is to help me in all those situations. So what I'm asking you today is, who is God to you? Is He that person that you are leaving behind all the time? Or is it somebody that you're really counting on and calling out to when you're in those situations? My prayer for you and my hope for you today, my challenge for you today, is really to develop that relationship, that that God is with you all the time, that you can rely on God in those good times and the bad, that when you're going through a tough time, yeah, He's there. But when you make a mistake, that God is there too. And He's there to forgive you and help you get through that. He's not going anywhere. You can't leave Him behind. He's always going to be with you in every situation. And I'm so thankful for that relationship that I have now with God, and He's helped me get through those tough times. And I hope that you are doing the same thing today, that you are totally committing to who God is in your life. You're putting Him in every situation, because that's what He's there for. He's not just a magician, some imaginary figure that we call on like a genie when we need help. But He's somebody who's there every step of the way, in every moment in our lives. And so I hope that encourages you a little bit today to always rely on God. Take Him with you. He's with you all the time, and He's there for you. All you have to do is ask Him to help. So I hope that helps you today, and let's head back into the kitchen and enjoy some awesome food. Hey everybody, welcome to the dining room. I'm here with Jackson and Troy. We have our sausage, gravy, and biscuit casserole. Just took it out of the oven, dressed it up with a little bit more sausage gravy on top. Guys, dive in, let me know what you think.
Oh, that's good. That's a great Saturday morning, Sunday morning kind of thing.
Like all in one, Sausage is good. Lots of that sage flavor in there that we were talking about.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Cheesy eggs on the bottom there. Good little mix of everything.
The biscuit, very good.
Biscuit's good, yeah. Super soft.
All right, guys. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I hope everybody at home has an opportunity, tries to make it. Like I said, the recipe is on YouTube. And if you want to try it for yourself, let me know what you think. Try it out for yourself at home. And thanks for watching Dano on the Counter. We'll see y'all next week.